everyone, welcome back to my CSEC mathematics series. Today we're going to be learning about how to solve problems involving measures and money. First, let's define what we mean by measures. In mathematics, a measure is a quantitative value representing the size, length, or amount of something. Typically, we use units like meters for length, kilograms for mass, and liters for volume. Here are some of the common units of measure. Understanding how to convert units of measure is important because it allows us to accurately interpret, compare, and communicate quantities in different measurement systems. These are not all of them, and as you study more problems involving units of measure, you will be exposed to more equalities like it. I will show you how to work with these, and you should understand that the methods we use to work with them can be applied to any other equivalences that you learn throughout the course or when solving problems. Now, before we solve our first problem, let's define unit price. It's the cost per single unit of measure of a product. It allows us to easier compare the value of different quantities or brands. Now let's look at some examples. In the first example, a fabric store sells cloth at $12 per meter. How much would 2.5 kilometers of cloth cost? The first thing you need to do is convert that kilometer value to meters. And then once you have the meter value, you would use the price per meter and determine the cost of the cloth. Let's do that now. So we know that 1 kilometer is equivalent to 1,000 meters. That means that 2.5 kilometers would have 1,000 times 2.5 meters. That works out to be approximately 2,500 meters. Now we know it's $12 per meter and we have 12 meters. So the cost of cloth would be equivalent to $12 per meter times 2,500 meters. Let's work that out. 25, 12, 250, 40, 10, that's 300. So we get 300 and 2 zeros. So that is $30,000 for 2,500 meters of cloth. Here's another example. An international shipment weighs 15 kilograms. Shipping costs $2 per pound. How much is the shipping cost? Okay, the first thing we need to do is we need to convert kilograms to pounds. So 1 kilogram is equivalent to 2.204 pounds. That means 15 kilograms would be equal to 2.204 times 15 pounds. And the answer for that is 3.06 pounds. Next, we work out the cost. So the shipping cost would be equivalent to $2 per pound times 33.06 pounds. And that would work out to be $66.12. Here's another example. A 500 ml bottle of juice costs $2.50, while a 1.5 liter bottle costs $6. Calculate the unit price per ml for both options and determine which is more economical. So we know 500 ml bottle of juice costs 250 ml. Okay, so let's find out how much you're paying per ml. All right, so that means we can take the $2.50 and divide it by the 500 ml. And that would mean we pay $0.005 per ml. Let's see what we can do with the other. Now, this one is in liters, so we need to convert liters to milliliters. We know 1 liter has 1,000 milliliters. So therefore, 1.5 liters would have, and just put this as a capital L here, would be equal to 1,000 times 1.5, which works out to be 1,500 ml. Now, again, we just simply take the cost, which is $6, and divide it by the 1,500 ml. And we can get an answer of $0.004 per ml. And we can see that this here would be the cheaper option to choose. All right, this one would be more economical because we pay less per ml of this juice. Next, we need to talk about currency conversion. Currency conversion is the process of converting an amount from one currency to another using a specific exchange rate. An exchange rate is a numerical value representing the ratio at which one currency can be exchanged for another. It allows us to convert monetary values between different countries. Here's an example we can try. A Canadian tourist is buying gasoline in Europe. The price is 1.4 euros per liter. If 1 euro is worth $1.50 Canadian dollars, and 1 gallon is equal to 3.785 liters, how much does a gallon of gasoline cost in Canadian dollars? All right, let's try and solve this problem. What we need to do is we need to figure out how much a gallon of gasoline costs in Canadian dollars. We know that 1.40, and I'm going to put E for euros, is going to get me 1 liter. So I need to just do some conversion on the euros to Canadians and the liters to gallons. Let's do that now. So I would like to find out how much 1 euro is worth. 1 euro is worth 1.50 Canadian dollars from the example. I'm going to use C for Canadian. And then that means 1.40 euros would be equivalent to 1.50 times 1.40, which is $2.10 Canadian. Now, this means that I can get 1 liter for $2.10 Canadian. I don't need this equivalence, however. I need to figure out how much 1 liter is worth in terms of gallons. Okay, so then that means I will have to use the equivalence that they gave me in the question, which said that 1 gallon is equivalent to 3.785 liters. That would mean that 1 liter would be equivalent to 1 divided by 3.785 gallons, which means that I would end up with an answer of 0.264 gallons, approximately. Now, I can change this equivalence again, and I can say 0.264 gallons costs me $2.10 Canadian. Now I just need to say, okay, well, this amount of gallons gives me this. 1 gallon would give me 210 divided by 0.264, and then I can figure out that answer of $7.95 per gallon. So what we're doing here is we're finding out the unit price of the gasoline. So all I had to do was take the amount of money that the quantity is worth, and I divide that money by the quantity, and I would be able to get the cost of 1 gallon, which is in this case $7.95. Let's try another one. An American chef is ordering 10 kilograms of cheese from France. The cheese costs 15 euros per kilogram. If the exchange rate is 1 euro equal to 1.10 US dollar and shipping is 50 US dollar, what is the cost in US dollars? All right, let's try and solve this problem. We know that 15 euros will get me 1 kilogram of cheese. First thing we need to do is figure out the cost of 10 kilograms of cheese. So 10 kg of cheese would be equivalent to 15 times 10 in terms of euros, which means we have $150 euros. That is the cost of the 10 kilograms of cheese. The next thing we need to do is we need to do the conversion from euros to US. So we convert these euros to US by simply following the equivalent that we have. So we know that 1 euro is equal to 1.10 US dollar. That means 150 euros would be equal to 1.10 times 150 US dollar. And that would be equal to 165 US dollars. The next thing we notice is that there's a $50 shipping cost. So we simply add that $50 shipping cost and we get 215 USD. All right, so that will be the total cost of shipping that 10 kilograms of cheese over from Europe to the US. Now, here are some tips that you should follow when you're solving these types of problems. Always convert the units so that they match when performing calculations. And pay attention to the conversion factors, especially when dealing with different measurement systems. Check your currency exchange rates carefully as they can fluctuate in real life. Now that you've done all of these questions, how about attempting some questions and I will solve them in the next session. This is example exercise, I should say 1. This is exercise 2. And this is exercise 3. You can pause the video at each one and try and solve them. Thank you for joining me for today's lesson and I hope you found it useful. I'm trying a new format by using presentations instead of writing on the screen. I will try and do this as much as possible from now on. And if you like it, please let me know. I'll try to make this a regular thing instead of me writing on the screen. I will see you again tomorrow for our next lesson.